If you own a shop, this is the only podcast that's going to tell you the truth.
Welcome to the operator's table.
All right, so on our last episode, we had our sales rep from XPEL, Cody Woolley, on the show. And he told us that he has actively been in a little over 300 shops. And he gave us a great insight to what a successful business looks like and what a failing business looks like. And he's kind of put together those traits that are in common with those shops. And one of those traits was organization, processes, checklists, and customer experience. And so that's what we're going to talk about this show is really when should you delegate tasks out to certain employees? When should you get managers to really help start facilitating this organization within your business? And when to start getting processes and checklists in line to start getting you into that better customer experience atmosphere that you really need to grow. So with us today, we have Kyle Naughton, who we've been friends for a little over a year now.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yeah.
So Kyle's been detailing my cars actually for a little over a year as well. And he's my company's, White Glove Auto's preferred detailer. So when somebody calls us for a detail job on a vehicle, we always recommend them over to Showroom Service. And they do mobile and they do shop work as well. And so Kyle, if you can just give us a little bit of introduction, who you are, how you got started in the industry, and what your shop does.
So I'm Kyle Naughton. I own Showroom Service. My shop is in Jinx. We do basic detailing, paint correction, ceramic coating, some of the same things you guys do at White Glove Auto. We do mobile. We do have a shop. We try to reserve our mobile for bi-weekly, monthly type stuff and do all initial first-time details in-house. It's just a little more controlled to do it that way, I think. It gets a little better detail the first time than trying to do like what we consider a full detail out in somebody's driveway or something.
Yeah, how long have you been in business for?
So I started Showroom Service about 2016, just out of necessity. I was tired of working for people. My time was being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
I wasn't being paid enough. I was burnt out on detailing. I was going to go and do construction with my dad. That's the only other thing I know how to do. But I had customers that I had dealt with over, a 10-year span that still had my number, would call and ask, where's my detailer? We don't have a good detailer. We think you might have something. You should maybe think about starting something. So it just worked into me buying a really bad truck, getting a little bit of equipment, and going from there.
That's how you start.
Yep. And then everything's been just snowballing from there, it feels like, and it just better and better every time.
And when was that? What year was that?
That was 2016.
2016. So that was literally about a year after White Glove started.
That's what.
So
yes.
I mean, we've started at about the same time period here, which is actually a great thing to point out because, again, you can kind of see the difference, and this is in no way anything bad about Kyle or anybody who is in the same situation, because I was in Kyle's shoes at one point, and he's 1 year less in business than we are, and you can kind of after the show you'll kind of see the differences between his shop today and how our shop is today, and what it actually looks like to be, stuck in certain areas of your business to keep it from really growing and expanding the way that it should.
Yeah,
and again,
that
that's
big jump.
Yeah, and that's nothing again bad against Kyle. What I'm saying, I like Kyle a lot, and I like his company, and I think he does great work. And but I think what a lot of owners fall into is they get into a period here where they get stuck in a certain aspect of their business, and it's hard for them to either let it go or they don't really know how to proceed past that point of where they're stuck, how to get out of it. And that's what we're going to talk about in the show.
Nice.
So right now in your shop, you have yourself and you have how many guys?
I got 2 employees that work for me.
Okay, so you have 2 guys. And what do they do?
They kind of float around. They can both do mobile. They can both work out of the shop. They can do anything that I need them to do.
Are they both on the same level as far as
skill and quality? One of them is better with meet and greet, talking to people, that kind of thing. The other guy does not so much like to talk to people at all. If he could just show up and work and do the job and go home, he would love that.
What about like their position in the business? Are they kind of equal in the position?
The one that's been with me for a real long time, He knows that he's got some real good seniority. The other guy does not mind taking direction from him. He knows that if I'm not there, that my other guy is in charge. What he says goes. If something's not to his standard, fix it, detail it to what he would know that I would like. So,
Gotcha.
So yes, they do play two different roles, and they do both know their place where we're at. Like,
okay. And for you as an owner, what do you do on a daily basis in your company? Like, what all do you manage every day on a weekly basis?
every single part of it. I show up, I do work, I get trucks ready, I do the laundry, I do the phone calls, I do the email, I do invoicing, I go pick up checks, I go pick up chemical. I do everything, start to finish, every day. Right beside them, right beside my guys. These guys will also do the same thing, minus I take the shop laundry home at night. I don't keep a washer and dryer at the shop for some reason. It's like a minimalist thing or something, but I'm gonna get one. But I do everything all the time, nonstop. Okay. So here recently, I've been taking some time off. I go home in the middle of the day and I sit down on my iPad and I started doing, keeping up, checking the calendar, getting invoices out, that kind of thing. Like taking some personal time, like still working, but taking some personal time.
Yeah. Okay, that's perfect. I mean, that gives at least us and the viewers kind of some perspective on how your shop operates. As an owner, you're still doing everything.
Oh,
literally,
yeah.
You said everything.
Oh, yes.
And then you have 2 employees that are typically doing like the day-to-day, like physical work on the cars. And you have one guy who's like a sort of a leader, not really a manager, but he's like sort of a lead person.
Yes.
So that's kind of a dynamic and how that works there for his company currently. And again, Kyle, I want to thank you for coming onto the show and even talking about this stuff, because there's a lot of companies, a lot of owners out there that are afraid to talk about their vulnerabilities, to talk about their failures, where they're not growing, what their issues are. And, you don't really, you can't do anything about it if you're not talking about it and if you're not trying to discuss this stuff with people that have been in those shoes. And so I'm trying to get that discussion started with people. I like Kyle a lot, and I want to see him grow and flourish. And I want to see that for a lot of the people that are watching our show as well. I want to help everybody. And I hope that the information that everybody gets from this show helps, at least in some aspect, to get you to that next spot in your business. So anyway, I appreciate you being on the show.
I appreciate you having me, and having you has been beneficial. So like even you reaching out to me to start detailing your cars, or having my phone ring and they're like, hey, the guys over at White Glove told us to call. They said, you're our detailer. They did our ceramic coating. We need maintenance details. They don't do that. They said, call you. So yeah. I appreciate you guys. Like the amount of phone calls I get, even on a weekly basis, 2 to 5 phone calls a week come from your guys' shop of people. They already know what they want. They are already sold a good job because you gave them a reference to me.
Yeah.
And like you say, for our businesses to have started at the same time frame, just to see how much different things can be when you don't just keep being the owner operator every single day, and when you step away and hire some people to help you, as my shop versus what your shop is doing,
there you
which
go.
is phenomenal.
It's going to be a really good show to kind of talk about the differences there and kind of.
Yeah. With starting at almost the same time. When I left my last job that I was done, getting taken advantage of, I'm out of here. At that detail shop, we had just started hearing about, hey, White Glove Auto is, these guys are good out here. They're doing their thing. And I was just getting out of the detailing world, and I got sucked right back in it. But I never did any advertising. I just kind of did it all word of mouth. I never saw the growth potential. I just saw go to work, make a little money, pay my bills, and feed my family, not necessarily try to take care of anybody else, whenever maybe I should have been doing some of that growth stuff that you knew to do, that you were in tune with doing, the Google reviews and being online and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, really, kind of you brought up something that's kind of funny is, right whenever you were exiting that old job that you were in, you were saying that's right about the time where you start hearing about White Glove and like, oh man, these guys are like coming up. Well, it's like, we've only been in business for a year at that point. The only thing that really made us look bigger than what we are is just the fact that we posted on social media, and we started doing that more often.
Online presence.
And we were starting to make more of a presence for ourselves than what most shops out there were already trying to do for themselves.
Yep.
And that right there, I actually like...
It set the tone.
Yeah.
for what you were going to do.
Like even like 2 or 3 years in the business, I was constantly having questions like, "Is this a franchise?" Like, no, it's not a franchise. This is my business.
Like,
And,
no, I did this.
Yeah. So anyway, the company wasn't even like anywhere near as impressive as it is now back then. Back then I was literally in a small shop, like super small shop, and it was just me and my best friend or my wife or my dad and
Exactly. Yeah.
so anyway, but we'll get into this next thing here, and that is what being stuck actually looks like. So what does stuck look like for you right now in showroom service?
10 voicemails on my phone, a laundry list of work to do that, the 3 of us can keep up with, but the 2 of them can't keep up with themselves while I go and handle some phone calls and get some more work lined out.
Okay, got it. And also the fact that you said earlier that you're also doing everything in the business.
All the
so
time.
you're literally stuck doing everything. You have almost no free time. You're trying to create that free time. But as of right now, like if you wanted to take a couple of days off in the middle of the week during a busy work schedule, are you able to do that?
Iffy. Like not on a moment's notice. Like I feel like I should be able to at this point in it. Like in an emergency, yes, I could make it happen. But
are you able to leave for a period of time, like Myron said, but know that when you come back, everything's taken care of the way you would be?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yep. I have one guy that I trust wholehearted. Like if I left and was out of town, I've done it. I've gone on a vacation with my family and left it for 1 week. I did still answer the phone a little bit while I was gone, which I shouldn't have, but I kept it very minimal.
Stuck.
I had plenty of stuff for them to do, no stress, but he handled everything. I came back, everything was fine. There was no complaints. That was 4 years ago. I should have known at that point to make a bigger jump that Nate, my employee, can handle this.
Yeah.
Like he is my manager. He can handle this business. I need to let him do that.
Yeah.
Is the thing.
So, and that's great. So, I mean, that means you have somebody who's been with you long enough that you can trust to do that position as a manager. And he's just not really technically called that right now.
Right.
But, that is somebody that you have on your side that can handle that if you needed to step away for a day or two. But now let's scale that up a little bit. Let's say you have to step away for 2 weeks.
Okay. Now I'm getting nervous. At 2 weeks, I'm getting nervous. I'm nervous at 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What are you seeing is the difference between you being gone for a week and you being gone for 2 weeks? Why can it be handled for a week but not 2?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that.
Is it you yourself? You feel like you're gone for too long?
Yep.
So you feel like the business cannot operate without you there for that long?
Why do I feel like I have to come and see you in your driveway every 2 weeks? Well, you don't mind that it's not me coming. Like, and nobody else might. Like, why do I feel that I have to go and take care of everybody personally and see all these people face to face every week, every month, every 2 weeks, whatever it may be? I feel like an obligation to keep my small little mom and pop shop, like, so that they see Kyle sometimes instead of.
I think I know your answer. And this is coming from my point of view because I am in that manager role right now. I think, you a second ago mentioned, that it doesn't have to be you that shows up at his driveway, but you still feel the need for it to be you.
Yep.
It's because you have not had a manager in that position to almost test out, to build your confidence in him long enough or soon enough so that when he does show up in Myron's driveway, you've seen it, you've seen kind of what he can do in that role to make you feel better. But right now you feel like it has to be you. I'm thinking just from my perspective, because I'm in those shoes. As a manager, you have to prove to the owner who's putting you in that position that you can handle all these things. You do it long enough, I think the owner, and you can attest to that maybe, but you do it long enough, and then now the owner has some trust in you. Yeah. So now okay, this is a good client of mine, whoever it may be, and I know that if I send this guy out, he'll take care of that person.
Yeah.
He's been in this role long enough now where I built that trust with him.
Yeah.
So, I think for you, there's a difference between, having someone doing shop work that can do really well. But you have to also, just because you're a good shop employee doesn't mean you're a good manager.
Okay.
There's a difference there.
Yes.
And we'll
I
get
agree.
into that. But having someone who's a really good shop employee, you just don't have that manager trust. Is he going to take care of all the things that I need to take care of if I'm not here for longer than maybe a week? You know.
Okay. All right.
I think
So-
that's what it is in my opinion. Because
Here's kind of my version of stuck, right? We heard Kyle's version of where he's stuck right now in his business, and that's currently happening for Kyle right now. My version of stuck was the same thing about, if you want to say 6-7 years ago, where I was stuck doing everything. We talked about this in our previous episode where I was literally the shop manager. I was doing sales. I was working on cars. I was HR. I was putting out burning fires. I was making the runs. I was doing everything, right? And my guys were just doing the work that needed to be done at that moment. I was doing everything else. And, a lot of that stuff that I was doing probably could have been delegated out, in hindsight. But, at the time, it was something where I felt like it was something I had to do because if I didn't do it, it wasn't going to be done right. Or XYZ, there's, different scenarios there. But, at that time in my business, I couldn't step away for really more than a few hours without there being some sort of burning fire. And I would come back I go out and get lunch and I'm gone for a couple hours, or maybe I have to go visit a customer out of the city for a little bit or something like that, right? I'm gone for just a few hours and I come back to the shop and I'm just bombarded with questions, right? Maybe there's sales issues, like a customer has questions or prices, or like they want to work a deal on something, or guys in the shop, or like I stopped polishing on this car because I seen this spot on the paint and I didn't want to continue working on it until I got an answer from you, and now everything is like held up because everybody's waiting on you essentially to answer these questions and do these things. And it was hard for me to step away for more than a few hours without everything coming to a halt. Yep. Essentially. And that was my version of stuck 6-7 years ago. And I'm at a point now, and could I leave for 2 weeks and be completely fine with everything? My answer to that is yes, and I'm confident in that answer. But I've never stepped away for 2 weeks to actually test that because, for one, I can't take a vacation for 2 weeks.
2 weeks is a long time.
That's a long
time,
vacation,
man.
right? I can't do that. I can do like a week max, but even then, that's like pushing the limits there. I kind of want to get back home.
I feel like going
days,
home, man. Oh, yeah.
So, but anyway, I have been out of pocket for a week, a full business week, multiple times, and I come back the next Monday and everything's in line the way it's supposed to be. And that is how it operates now. And that's the way it should operate for any owners out there that are wondering, what should it look like for you as an owner once you're in business for, I would say at least 5 years, where should you be at? Yep. And you're in business for now almost 11 years.
Almost 11, yeah. Going on. I'm a little behind the curve, I feel like. Yep. And that's why I said meeting you has been beneficial. You've always been a plethora of knowledge, and I've tried to start implementing some of these things into letting go and being the owner and not the worker. Yeah. And one thing you told me was, if somebody can do 80% as good as me, I can be okay with that. I can sell somebody that.
Yeah. It's funny because there's a lot of people out there that think that, I need employees that work like the owner or think like me or whatever. That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. I don't care who you are. You're never going to have an employee that thinks like the owner, because they're not the owner. And that's just facts. And there's people out there. There was a guy that I actually watch, and he actually owns one of the largest auto restyling franchises in the country. And he also has a podcast, and he actually made a post a couple days ago. It kind of made me like laugh at it. And I completely disagree, because he was like, what makes a good owner is an owner that works like an employee, and what makes a good employee is an employee that works like an owner. That's bullshit. Both ways around, that's bullshit. And I think it's a big misconception there. And what you just said, what I told you, is really the realistic, what expectation you should have as an owner is that you have employees, and you should expect them to do at least 80% of what you can do, right? And if they can do 80%, then you manage with that expectation, and things are going to go a lot easier for you. If you constantly manage at an expectation that your guys are going to operate at an ownership level, you're going to fucking be pissed off and be angry and have resentment, and you're never going to be happy, and nothing's ever going to go the way that you want it to go, because you have these unrealistic expectations of your team.
Of somebody that's not you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, I kind of want to touch on that for a minute because you brought it up there, and that's definitely one of my biggest disagreements I have with what a lot of people say. So, you have anything to add on to that?
No, I was curious. Do you think that what he meant was like he wants employees that care about the business like the owner cares about the business? Or did he specifically mean physically do the work like in an owner mindset?
No, he actually made that post. Are you talking about the guy I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he
'Cause I
actually
didn't see
made that post where he was in the shop tinting a car. And he's an owner of like 100 franchises essentially. And he's actually in the shop working on a car, putting tint on windows. And he's like, what makes a good owner is an owner that works like an employee.
Man, I don't know.
That's not really.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. And I think everybody can probably agree with this. You build a business that serves you as the owner, right?
Right.
That's what you do. You don't build a business so that you can continually serve your business, so that you can continually be your business's bitch, essentially, right? And it owns your life, and it's literally sucking everything out of you that you have. That's not where you should be years into your business. It's like that for the first few years, right?
Okay.
I've been in that.
Right.
Every owner goes through that. As an owner, it's going to suck your life out of you for a few years, but the goal is to get yourself out of that spot. We're not getting any younger. I think everybody can agree with that.
Correct.
Everybody right now can probably say, oh, yeah, they're probably 25, 30 years old, even younger, and they're probably like, oh, yeah, I'm fine doing everything myself. I can manage that. But imagine whenever you're 50 or 60 years old, are you going to be saying that same thing? Probably not.
Yeah.
No.
And
Even
it's
at
probably-
39 over here, and I still get out and do 5 maintenance details in one day, and I'm like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that to myself, man.
And then you have kids,
you're-
your
I know,
family,
yeah, you're not just
you
some
wanna be able to
strapping
step
young
away.
lad anymore. Like that shit's gonna kick your ass one day at the end of the day, for
Yeah.
sure. Like,
I think what a lot of people don't think about is the future. They're thinking about the now and how they're doing at that very moment in time, but they're not thinking about scaling. They're not thinking about the future. What is this going to look like 5 years from now, in my business if I keep doing what I'm doing? Is it going to get to me to where I want to be as an owner, or is it not going to get me there? And that's what a lot of people have to think about. And I don't think, I would say probably 90% of people or business owners out there don't do that. So anyway, that's my take on that. Anything to add to that?
No.
Nope.
You made perfect sense there.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to get into really the work that keeps the owner stuck overall within their business. And this kind of like goes back to kind of some stuff that we've already touched on. And the work that keeps you stuck is just the fact that you can't let anything go. If you can't let anything go and you can't delegate things out to your employees, you're always going to continuously be stuck as an owner.
Yeah.
And so you have to start learning and teaching yourself or getting into your head somehow to be comfortable with letting things go. And I suggest starting small and then working up from there. So like in your business, right, you do everything, and you have someone in your business that can have a leadership role, but they're not technically a leader. And maybe you don't fully trust them for some things. I don't know how that dynamic is.
And that's the thing. Maybe I'm holding him back from being the manager of my place and letting me go and do some of these other things.
I'll add to that again from that perspective. If I think you are holding him back.
Okay.
If he's
Yes.
the type of personality that I think he may be, which is like
Because even in my opinion, I don't think Nate should be out washing very many cars anymore. I think Nate should have a couple of little, 20, 21-year-old, just young guns out here doing details, and he should maybe follow them around or have some kind of check card. Like,
Yeah.
are they doing this at your house? Hey, Myron, please check this off for the guys that came by today. And that shouldn't be me asking you that. That should be Nate coming to you and being like, hey, did the guys take care of you today with an email or whatever, a text and some kind of list for that. Nate, I don't want him washing cars very much longer, man. I want him to grow as much as I would like to grow. Like, that's how much I trust Nate to operate my plate.
Yeah.
From keeping chemicals up, laundry. If I can't get to the laundry, if I have something that, hey, Nate, you mind taking? No, he'll take the laundry with him no matter what, and it comes back clean every other. You know what I mean?
And that tells me right there that you have somebody who could be easily a manager in your business and that can take over certain roles. and the fact that you haven't technically made them that title or given them that specific duty, like, hey, this is what your job duty now is every day, you are kind of holding them back, like what you said. Okay. But what I'm going to say is, where I'm getting at is, how do you get comfortable with delegating tasks out to people? Well, the only way you really get comfortable with it is, you don't just throw somebody into the fire and see if they do it or not, because that's probably going to fail most of the time, right?
Okay. Yes.
As an owner, we know what we want to do or how we want things done in any specific category of the business. So if you want to start delegating tasks out, you need to take what you do in your head and you need to put it on paper. This is where checklists and procedures come into line. You have to really focus on what you do on a daily basis. Put that specific thing on paper, the procedure. Okay, I do this, and then I go over here and I do that, and then I go to the computer and I do this, and then I go over here and I do that. And you make a system, right, on paper, and you now have your entire system, whatever you're trying to delegate out, on paper, how you would do it as the owner, how you want it done, and then you're giving that to the person you want to put into that position, right? And that is how you can start to become more comfortable, because now you know that as long as they're following that checklist, then you know that they're doing it the way that you want it to be done every time. The only thing is making sure they follow that checklist, which is where, as an owner, you still have to spot and check and make sure
check
that
your checklist. Correct.
Yeah, exactly. And so you still have to do that, but that's less work than you actually doing the task itself. It's easier for you to check multiple checklists to ensure that they're being done versus actually doing all these tasks individually by yourself.
Okay.
So
Can we take a second to just go over what a manager is?
yeah,
Please. Yes.
Because you have, it seems to me, right, you have a guy who you trust getting the work done. When you're not in the shop or you're in the shop, you know this guy will get everything done.
Yep.
There's a difference between that and being a manager. Because if you're a manager, you have to have leadership qualities. Maybe you have someone who's really good at doing the work, but maybe they're not really good at managing. So what does that look like to you, Myron? What is a good manager in your mind?
I think a good manager to me is somebody who is going to be able to, again, follow the processes that I put out. You're right. They're actually going to do the things that I have set forth for them to do, which is going to be checklists, procedures, and processes. Because again, I understood that early on, where making these things is going to make sure these managers are doing it how I want it to be done. So that's number one. Number two is their overall character in general. What makes a good manager is somebody who's going to be accountable. They admit when they fuck up, and they don't try to hide things from you, right? And you can pick up on that pretty easily. You can tell if somebody's going to start hiding stuff from you or they're not being honest with you. And so that's one big aspect. And the other thing is just having a coachable attitude and always learning from your mistakes. And as long as I can see that you're always continually trying to progress and get better, then that right there, I feel like, is what makes a good manager, because you're always trying to continually improve yourself to ensure that you're doing the best job that you can do for the owner and for the team of the business.
I'll also add, you have to have that, the person you make a manager, or if you're looking to see if he is a good manager, is you have to have the ability to have tough conversations with people. If you have a manager and you have people working under him and they make mistakes, how does the manager handle that, right?
Okay.
It can be like a friendly attitude. I mean, it could start that way. I guess it depends on how you approach it.
Well, I'll say this, that when I talked about accountability as being one of the main things that an owner should have, or not an owner, a manager should have, is not only accountability for themselves, but accountability for their team. So they should hold their team accountable and be able to have those tough conversations, right? Because you can't hold your team accountable if you're not going to
if you're
have these
scared to say
conversations.
something to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't be scared. And that's another thing that we've talked about in a previous episode, is why you can't be friends with your employees, because that's going to make those conversations that much harder.
Oh, yeah. And also, do you agree that I think the manager should also see the vision of the company from the owner's perspective? Like, if the owner says, okay, I want the business to go from here to here, and for that to happen, I need someone in place to manage so I can grow the business. Do you think that manager needs to understand and see that vision so that he can push these guys
every
day?
Manager has to understand the overall goal of where you're trying to be. Like in my business, I have a sales manager, I have a shop manager, and then I have the store manager, which is you, right? And does each manager need to know the whole goal of everything. No, they just need to know the goal of where I want them to be within their position. And so the sales manager knows where we want to be with our reviews and our, our sales and our average ticket prices. And the shop manager knows where we want to be with our efficiencies and, how many people we need to have on our team or our training and stuff like that. And then the store manager knows everything, right? He understands where we want to go with both of those positions so that he can continue to push them into that direction, those managers. And then he also knows where, as a company in whole, where I'm trying to get the company to be in a whole, and he knows where to push that company based on that vision. So, yes, it is very important for any manager to understand the goals that you want to be at so that they understand where they are trying to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you guys are like explaining Nate to me. Like I'm holding.
Well, it's a
Nate
good
back.
thing, right? That's
I
a
do
good
think
thing
that's
that
a good thing.
that you're hearing us talk, and
Because it's even things like he has heard me on the phone call customers and me take the blame on one car in particular. I don't know exactly what happened, but the tip of the air pistol literally put a rock chip in a door panel, and I was like, "Damn it!" Called the guy, and I'm like, "Hey man, I just put a nick in your car." And when I got off the phone, Nate said, "Don't do that. Tell him I did. No, I will take. That was me, not you. I always take accountability. Anything that happens at my shop, I always take the blame for it. And he has called me out on it twice. One time, some keys got locked in a car, and one time he nicked that paint with that air pistol gun. And neither time did I tell the customer, hey, Nate did this. I don't want to blame it. You know what I mean? I felt like I was like blaming it on him or something, but it happened in my shop under
Just real
under
quick,
my
I'm glad
watch.
that you say that, and this is a separate topic, but I'm going to make it real short.
Okay.
Is that whenever you're a company, right, and you are the owner of a company, and you have employees, and your employees make a mistake, and you as the owner are probably the point of contact to break the news to the customer, right?
Yes.
That's typically the way it goes. What a lot of people need to understand, and I see this too, and I'm not saying that you're doing this. It sounds like you're trying to avoid the situation, but a lot of owners out there will be like, oh yeah, this so-and-so guy did this to your car, blah, blah, blah. No, don't ever say that. You just say, hey, we screwed up. We screwed up because ultimately it's your guy, it's your company. They brought the car to you. It's you as a company
It's
that
a
screwed
we
up.
situation.
well, you
Right,
are a
okay.
team. It is we, never us.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I like I say, I feel like you guys are explaining that boy takes accountability.
Yeah.
I don't think that I couldn't leave him to do whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I like answering the phone. I like talking to people.
Yep.
I don't necessarily think I need to do that. Like almost need a shop line. Why are people calling my personal cell phone all the time?
Yeah.
Why don't I have time during 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. when it says my business hours are to make phone calls and texts and all that? Well, somebody like you that's my friend more than a customer nowadays, I don't mind texting you like what I consider after hours, but I feel unprofessional if I try to send somebody a text anytime after 6 o'clock for sure. If I've had a long day and I haven't got like my reminders sent out to people that aren't on my digital stuff or whatever because they don't want to be. They don't like they don't like that thing because it sends too many. But so I just have them on the side and I'll text them personally or whatever. But if it gets late, I'm like, shit, I don't want to text them at 9 o'clock.
Do you feel like you have to text them after hours because you don't have time during the day?
Right, because I don't get to it because I'm too hands-on busy when I should have sat down at 4 o'clock before my day is over and sent out all my, hey, we're
And
coming
all those customers that you're not getting to
Right.
within the hours and stuff, that's stomping growth of the business, right?
Exactly. And so then I feel like I don't want to call all these people at nighttime, taking time away from my wife and kids and hanging out and having dinner. So then I wait till the morning. Now feel like I'm cutting myself out of like 2 hours of my morning because I'm checking voicemails and returning phone calls and on the phone and all that. When really I'm selling jobs, most of the a lot of the times the work is there. When they call, they want the work. I almost don't even have to sell it to them anymore. Yeah. It's just me getting on the phone with them and talking to them, setting them on the calendar. But then I feel like in that 2 hours, I also could have done a detail by myself. I feel like I cheated myself somehow, or like I was lazy because I was sitting here on the phone when it's not.
To a degree, even at your scale, right, where you have you as the owner and you have 2 employees, and we're talking about how you have one guy who could potentially be a manager, actually could be a manager, based on what you're saying, but people who are watching, they're probably wondering, well, this guy is an owner, he has 2 employees, does he really need a manager? Well, at that scale, maybe not yet, but I do see a really big potential for growth in your company because of that.
Okay.
Because you have that person with you. You know, for me, and when I was young, or in our younger stages of business, you know, I had Kristen, you know, my wife, and then I had my dad, somebody I could trust, right? You kind of have one person like that right now, and so you got to leverage that, and you could really, I think, really, if I was in your shoes, I myself would be managing the sales and the customer interactions and talking to customers and following up with things and managing the numbers, the finances, ordering things, just making sure that, you know, your taxes are paid, whatever, right? The critical stuff of the business. And then you have Nate as a manager who is now managing the actual operations, like as far as like your details,
Day
right?
to day, doing the
Day to day.
checking over the final detail work or whatever it may be.
Yeah,
Checking up.
making sure your teams know where they're going for the day for details or mobile work or what's happening in the shop, and delegating, you know, people in the shop for certain things. So really, and it sounds like to me you're booked out all the time, right?
Yes,
Like
2 weeks steady.
steady. And how is it always that way even through the winter?
It's even like that through the winter now.
Through the winter.
Yes.
See, so that's a great problem. And you do no marketing right now, right?
Zero.
This is all word of mouth.
I play around on Facebook and Instagram a little bit, but I don't do paid advertisement at all. Nothing.
Got it.
Just word of mouth. And
how much work you say you're turning down right now? Because
I try not to turn down anything. If I can get
Try
people
not
to
to.
wait that 2 to 3 weeks, if it's the me telling
It's
people.
hard.
Yes, when I tell somebody 3 weeks to get on my schedule, they're like, I'm going to try to find somebody else.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that person does not call back because everybody wants a detail within about
Yeah, of
4 or
course, you're
5
not-
days, man. We want
And
our
when I
car
say you're
clean.
turning it down, I'm not saying you're turning it down, saying no, I'm not going to put you on my schedule. I'm just saying as in like you lose that customer because you're so booked out. Right?
I would rough estimate, because I don't know, probably 10 a month. You know, a couple $1,000s a month
So
off of
right
missing
there,
some of those
right?
calls.
Right. So, you know, you mentioned, you know, this guy, he has 2 employees. Does he really need a manager right now? Well, yeah, because I think if you get one, those 2 employees grow to 5 employees. Because now you have someone who can manage and you have time to grow the business.
Yep.
Now you don't lose those customers. Now you have more time to spend maybe marketing or doing ads or whatever that is. You can respond back quicker. You don't lose those customers.
Yeah.
You can bring in more work for your business, and ultimately your business makes more money with more employees if you have that one guy in place that you trust to take over the day-to-day.
And make these people do
Right,
get
right,
their
you know what I
job,
mean?
not
'Cause
make
right now-
them, but get their job done. And
Yeah. Again, if
Right.
you have that guy you can trust to oversee others and make sure the work is done just like you want it to be done, you can now go from 2 employees to 4 or 5. As long as you can, you know, because you'll be growing
rely
the
on
business.
him to get the stuff done around there, like handle the extra work that I'm
Yeah,
bringing
handle
in.
it. You're going to grow the business. You're going to
Yes.
step away and you're going to start doing the things you need so you can bring in enough work to, you know, keep 4 guys busy.
Okay.
Here's a question that I think some people are going to ask already, or probably statements that they would make, and that would be, well, what if I don't want to get employees? Or what if I don't want to grow that big? Or what if I want to say that small mom and pop shop? Well, that's fine. That's fine. But you're always going to be working in your business.
Okay.
That's just the realistic, you know, part about it, is that if you don't have people like you right now, it's you and you have 2 guys, realistically, you're always going to be involved in your business heavily, probably every week. And so if you want to get to a point to where you want to grow, then that's where you need to have some more employees. And I really think if you don't have to grow giant, like me right now, like we have 18 people counting myself and Mitch. Okay. You don't have to be that big. You can
grow it to as big as you would like.
Yeah, you can, but you can still be that owner that we're talking about here, where you don't have to be in your business every day if you have like 5 to 6 people. You know, I think if you get to 5 to 6 people, you can make good money. You have enough people there to create a culture. You have enough responsibility there to keep a manager busy and think that they're actually like worthwhile in doing something, right?
Yes.
If you keep a manager and they're only managing one person, I feel like that gets kind of meaningless over time, and they're not really doing much, and they feel like they have to do more, and they want, because ultimately you're going to have people that want to be with a company that grows.
Yes, sir.
And if you have high quality people, that's what you're going to get, is people, your employees expect to grow and make more money or be in a higher position at some point. And that's realistically what it comes down to. But, you know, for you, I do think that you're in a spot where yeah, you can make Nate a manager and you hire a couple more people in, one person for your shop, maybe another person for your mobile team, and that now you have 4 people under you, right? And now I feel like you can already start bringing in more revenue, more money. You can focus more on things that you need to do.
On some
Well, that's
of my-
exactly it.
right.
You are getting bigger. Your company's growing, and you're doing less of the hands-on because now you have time to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
now you have time to actually grow. So
Okay.
And of course, I mean, there's always going to be growing pains with that. But, it's kind of what you have to do. You have to just,
Of weeding through the bad workers
Yeah.
and the just
yeah,
the ups
because
and the
you
downs.
hire
of it.
2 more people. It's not just that easy, obviously.
Right.
They may suck. And then you have to hire 2 more people. And you have to keep going through this loop until you find that person that fits with your company.
Yep. We went through 4 before we found our secondary helper that we have now, or my guy or whatever. But
We have probably hired and fired over 100 people.
Holy cow.
In like the last probably 5 or 6 years.
and that ranges between someone there for half a day, and someone there for a couple of years.
Oh, we've had literally people come start on their first day
And then leave
they
at lunch,
quit on
huh?
lunch. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get lunch. Don't come back.
Don't come back.
Which is fine. That's not what you.
You
That's
weren't for
not
us.
what that's
Exactly.
not what you
Yeah,
need to grow
weren't.
your company.
Right.
So that's great.
It weeds. Some of them will weed themselves out.
Yes, exactly.
No, if you have procedures in place and you have checklists in place, it's gonna weed most of them out.
Okay.
Because you will see who can keep up with what your vision and what you need done versus the people that can't.
Yeah.
That's gonna it's gonna do its own work. It's
like-
gonna weed itself out.
It's like I like working with Nate so much because nobody ever detailed with Nate but me. He only knows to do things the way that I want them done.
Yeah.
Like he knows the houses, the gate codes, the people. Everybody loves Nate. He's a great people. Like I'm holding myself and him back, I feel like. So
Well, exactly. You are holding yourself back and you're holding him back. And at some point in time, and I don't know how close you and him are.
close.
But at
I've
some
known him
point in
since the
time-
6th grade.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned
You
something.
said 6th grade?
Yes. So
So a long time. You guys are long friends.
Yes, and you mentioned earlier about not being friends with your employees. So somehow him and I are able to find there is a divide there. He
Yes.
knows there is 2 different worlds. There's 2 different
That's very
That
important.
is
Kyle's to
that's
him.
a very unique situation.
people
And
don't understand it.
Yes.
His wife, nobody ever. They're like, you guys are friends. Oh yeah, and have been and remain friends. Like
that's fine as long
It's
as you guys can have
crazy.
those difficult conversations with each other
Yep.
as business.
2 days ago, I had to get on him 2 days ago, and I
Yeah.
kind of had, I didn't feel bad about it one bit. Like we're
Yeah,
at
that
work,
is-
I don't like what you're doing right now. That's not how we do things here, and that's not going to happen again.
Yeah.
and that
That's
was
very
that.
unique.
We went on about our day, and that's that.
Yeah.
Like,
And as long as you guys still have a good relationship after that, that's great. That's a very rare scenario.
Yes.
Not many people can do that.
yeah, and I've heard you mention it a few times, even in the past, about you can't work with some of your friends. Somehow me and Nate do it.
Yeah.
So that is the only one thing that you ever mentioned that I disagree, just because I live it every day. Like,
Well, and I said that in a previous episode we talked about where right off the bat, I was like, I don't recommend anybody work with friends or family ever.
Yeah, ever.
And I also was in the scenario with you. I worked with my wife and my dad.
oh yeah.
And we made it work.
Yes.
And it was very difficult, but we drew those lines, and I
Yeah.
would never recommend anybody else do that.
To try
Yeah,
that
I hate they
ever.
both of you kind of have this unique scenario because I don't want people watching to be like, "Oh, we can do it." No,
No, you
do not
can't.
do it.
Do not. I grew
This
up.
is an two odd cases right
Yeah,
here. Where
I've done-
But you're hearing both of us say that this is a unique scenario, and we've been able to make it work. And it's 99% of the time it's not going to work out. And
Yeah, if you
something
are starting
catastrophic will
a
happen.
new detail shop company, do not hire one of your friends. Don't try it. Don't. It's
Yeah.
not going to work for the most part.
Yeah, most
Like-
part it won't.
They might hang out and be good with you for a little while, but then I feel like they're going to break off and just go do it themselves. And they might
or
take
your
half
friendship
and they-
ends because there's
Right. And they
So-
might take half your clientele when they leave. You never know. Like, maybe the customer liked that kid better when he showed up. Who knows? Like,
Yeah.
don't do it with one of your friends or your family.
So
Don't do it.
consider yourself incredibly lucky.
Yeah,
for
yes.
that.
I do feel blessed for having him as a part of what I got going on.
Yeah. Okay, so were you were about to say something a little bit ago?
no. All I wanted to say was, an owner who keeps working, on the day to day with the rest of the employees. The key is, and I think for an owner, is you don't want to work in the business, you want to work on the business.
Yeah.
Okay. I like the
Right
way that
now,
sounds.
right now, and you're not the only one. I mean, Myron did it.
Yeah.
There's tons of people out there right now who feel stuck If I don't get this work done, no one's going to get it done, or I can't trust anyone to get it done the way I want to get it. You're working in the business. You're not working on it. You'll be working on it when you're growing it.
Yep.
So that's all.
Exactly. Yeah, and you mentioned something that is good to bring up, and that is, if you're working in your business, that means you're usually always working side by side with your employees, which is necessary in the beginning stages of the business. But your goal should be to pull yourself away from that as the business grows. And people need to start to respect that boundary. With us, we've had so much turnover now where it's like when somebody gets hired, they never even meet me. I don't even meet them. I don't even know who they are. I'm just walking into the shop one day. There they are working. I've never even met the dude.
Okay.
Right. And, but if I were to ever like say, hey, so-and-so, come talk to me in my office, they're instantly scared because they're like, I've never talked to this dude before. What the hell's happening? I've always wanted to create that sort of dynamic because that's the respect level that
Full
you should
separation
have.
from them.
And you cannot do that unless you put a manager in place that's going to take care of all these new employees and get them going and train them without you having to step in. Because I remember, a few years ago, 3-4 years ago, it would be a thing where, I was the shop manager, and part of their kind of welcoming to the company is I would have everyone come meet Myron. And, we got away from that now. Now that there's a shop manager, now I'm in the store manager position, one above that. And now Nick now I'm the one responsible for hiring them. And me and Nick, the shop manager, will talk to the employee, get them going. They have no need to go to Myron.
Yeah. Yeah, for no reason.
And honestly, he mentioned, Myron mentioned that even if Myron has to bring him into the office for any reason, that rings some bells that, this is an issue. That doesn't even really happen either. He stepped away to the point where if I'm bringing them to the office, that's already it. I don't, there's no need for Myron to even really ever talk to an employee from start to finish.
Yeah, and that's how it was before I made Mitch the store manager, right? I was that last step to like talk to somebody if I needed to, but really the goal with the store manager position that I put Mitch into is essentially to replace me. And so now he's that scary person.
Okay, right? You don't want to go talk to Mitch.
Again, there's layers.
Might be in trouble now.
Yeah.
There's layers to it, right?
Right.
You start at a certain size, you get one manager. The more you grow, you can be like, okay, this guy's going to take care of this stuff, and maybe you're going to need a sales manager, someone to answer all your calls and sell. At that point, you do that. And that's kind of how White Glove went. And now it's like, okay, well, I have those two guys in place. I'm still growing. Myron, the owner, still feels like he's in this position where he's still more involved than he wants to be. Okay, store manager. Now you have someone to take care of all my stuff. They don't even have to go to me anymore or to Myron anymore.
Yeah.
Right? And now it's like everything, there's this umbrella under Myron. And it's all running the way it should. As long as you hire the right people in those places to do the work.
That'll follow that.
That'll follow your procedures and follow your vision as the owner. Now you build this umbrella below you, and now there's levels to it, right? You talk to Nick if there's an issue. Nick can come down on someone in the shop if they're not doing their work correctly. If that's not working, they can come to me now, right? And then if I'm talking to them, that's a higher severity level.
Yeah, a few years ago, whenever you were shop manager, or no, it was a few years ago, it was even last year. Mitch was the shop manager. Jay was basically the store / sales manager at the time. And so he was filling two roles, and then I was the main guy, right? And so I had two managers to keep in control of, and that was like who I needed to watch out as an owner. But now that we've stepped up to this next level that we're at in our business, now Mitch is my main point of contact, and now I only have to focus on Mitch, and I look at everybody else, and if anything's falling apart, my one blame is now Mitch. Right. That's my one contact. I don't have to talk to anybody else.
I see. Okay.
And so as you level up and you keep getting more, as you get multiple managers or more leaders or whatever you want to call them in your business, that's less points of contact that you as an owner should have, because now I know that Mitch has the main responsibility here to keep things in line the way that I want it to be done. And so it's also less work for me from having to talk to multiple people.
To multiples to just talking to Mitch.
Yeah, now I have one guy.
And there's never it is a you're fired situation, and we want to talk to Myron, but they don't even know who Myron is.
Yeah.
No, there is no like Well, first of all, wait, what was the first part you said?
Like if in a you're fired situation.
Oh,
That's
you're
up to
fired.
you.
Yeah. So,
there's no going around you and let me try to get a second
I'll
chance
start by
from
saying
Myron.
this: there is no response to "you're fired" other than you're walking out that door.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is no
If it's to that point, it's out of here.
Because if you
don't
manage
engage
it correctly and you handle it correctly, there's multiple warnings and heads ups that
Okay.
something's not going right.
All right.
So there's never going to be a "you're fired" out of nowhere.
Okay.
It's like you're fired and you know why.
Okay, because
I
you've
don't
been
need to
breaking
give
the
you a
procedures
description.
list over and over.
Yeah, and there's
Okay.
things in place that we'll talk about, at future times and stuff. So, of how you kind of manage that and control that.
Okay.
So it's not, it's not a surprise to anyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
And number two, no, there is no. Let me talk to Myron because who's Myron?
Okay.
Right, Myron is not here right now.
Yeah.
He
All
may
right.
be sitting there, but he's not here.
Yeah.
You come to me, that's my job.
I put the managers in these positions for this reason because I trust them to handle these situations, and that's it. Coming to me is not going to give you any different result.
Okay.
I put these people here because
You trust
I
his
trust that they're going
decision-making
to do
skills.
what
Yes, sir.
I want. So,
And don't
Yeah,
get me wrong,
there is no
as the manager, if I have any doubts or I'm not sure, I'll talk to Myron.
yes.
Right, I'll get his input. So we're working on this together. It's two
Yeah.
pieces
Okay.
coming together in a conversation with one result, and that result is the final result. Right?
Okay.
Yes.
There's
All right.
plenty we talk about.
Okay. Right.
I don't have every answer. I can't. There's some situations where I may know what to do, but I'm not sure if it's the right thing for me to do right now, and I'll get his input.
Yeah.
Now, do I have to get his input if he left for a month? No, I'll handle it. I'll make my my decision based on my best knowledge and understanding of the company and what we need. But if he's available, I will ask him and kind of bounce an idea off him, and we'll get a response.
Perfectly
So
said.
again, going to him is not going to do anything different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that also, again, just makes your job even easier because, firing people is never really fun.
It's never fun.
Some people, may get joy out of it. I don't know. But,
Like, man, no,
realistically, like, who wants to have that conversation? And typically, whenever you start getting managers, like say, Nate, for instance, right? If you get to a point to where you have multiple shop people, now you need to fire somebody, you're like, hey, Nate, this dude is not cutting it. And then you guys are in agreement, right? You and your manager need to be on the same page. Nate agrees, yeah, I agree, this dude shouldn't be here. Okay, fire him, Nate.
Okay,
And
all
then
right.
Nate should be like, done.
That's
Fucking-
exactly why I said that just because you're a good employee doesn't mean you're a good manager. Because things like that shouldn't be like
Can Nate take care of that for me?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I get it. To anyone listening, it's like if you're a new manager, it's not easy in the beginning. You're a little nervous, right? You're human.
Oh yeah.
But can you overcome that over time and kind of get more comfortable? Not saying that you should get comfortable just firing people, but in a way, yeah, you have to be able to set your feelings aside.
It is a part of the
and
business.
be like, hey,
I
this
will
is business.
I will say you do have to get comfortable with firing people because if you're gonna have to, as you grow, you're gonna turn over more people to find that right person, like we talked about earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I misspoke. I didn't mean comfortable firing people. I meant more like you don't want to just be like fire happy.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean? You don't want to just feel so comfortable like, oh, this guy does one thing
Yeah.
wrong. It's time for him to leave. Boom, and just say it right away without, no. You have to have respect.
You asked me earlier what makes a good manager, and really what makes a good manager and a good owner is you give chances. So you do everything within your power to ensure that your employee has every potential possibility to do their task right. You've done everything you can for them. You've talked to them. You've given them a write-up. You've gave them an example. You showed them physically. You trained them. You did X, Y, Z. You've done everything you could in your power to fix that person. And then if they still get it wrong, then it makes it that much easier to fire that person as well. And that's what makes a good manager, is really understanding that, hey, I know as a manager I've tried everything I could do. There's nothing else I can do for this person.
Yeah.
It's time to fire him. And it makes it easier.
It just time for you to go, man.
When
You
an
just don't fit here.
employee when an employee is messing up, you look at the manager and you point the finger at the managers first and say it's their fault.
Yes.
Okay.
It's never the employee's fault. Because if the employee is not taught correctly, it falls on the manager for having to correct that.
Okay.
If that doesn't work, you're still pointing at the manager saying, what can you do differently? What different angle can you take to try to make this employee succeed?
Okay.
And then it happens again, and it's like, is there anything else we can do? What else can you do? Maybe he's not understanding from this point of view. Let's take it from this point of view.
Okay.
And then after, obviously, a countless amounts of times or whatever amounts of times you set in your business to strikes, as you call it, right? How many, after a certain amount of attempts to try to correct their actions or make them more efficient or make them come in on time or make them not forget things or whatever it may be. After that, okay, now we look at the employee and say, listen, we've done everything we can. There's only so much we can do. I think this employee is now not a good fit, right? You've done everything in your
We've
power.
tried.
But it's always on the manager first.
Okay.
Yeah, well, here's how it typically goes, right? It's always on the owner first, and then it's on your
Yeah,
manager.
I guess I'm skipping the owner part.
There you
here,
go.
but
Yeah,
And
I
then,
feel
it's,
you.
and then it's on your employees.
I
right?
see what you're. So
From
that's
top
what I was
down.
about to say. Like
It starts from the top down.
As long as I have trained Nate the way I want, he should be able to train a team underneath him.
Exactly the
So,
way that you want it done.
When this person goes over to your house and you're like, "Hey, these people didn't do my wheels good," Nate, why didn't you train him to do wheels good? That's
Exactly.
where that starts.
Yeah,
that starts at
it's
training.
Nate's problem at that point. It's
Okay.
like, why didn't you do this? Why is he messing
Why
up?
is he not doing like?
And then you drill into Nate. Like, what was your process? How did you show him? Did you actually show him physically?
Okay.
And you start drilling into Nate and like seeing why did it fail.
Okay.
And then you help coach him on how can he come at it from a different perspective to try to get that employee to understand. And once you truly know that Nate's worked through everything with that employee, then you know it's not a Nate problem, it's an employee problem, and that's when you fire their employee.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So,
Great.
A lot of people are dealing with this, man.
yeah.
A lot
Oh,
of people are.
Day in and day out, huh?
Majority.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally in the automotive restyling business or the automotive detailing business. This is probably going to be 95% of the companies out there. Having
It's
this
not
issue.
even that. Mechanic shops. I mean,
yeah.
whatever your paint shops, body shops. It's the same system.
Yeah.
They
same
just do different
systems.
work.
Yep.
Okay.
This relates to anyone,
any kind of
any
business
small business.
growth.
Yeah, really.
Yes.
Yeah, any small business.
Yep.
I mean, it's
Yeah. It
Yep.
doesn't
You
even
know?
have to be automotive at this point.
Yeah.
What we're talking about really is going to apply to just about anything.
yeah. This is just when you're an owner and you're stuck, and when is it the right time to?
Okay, and then also
hire
when
someone.
you're an owner that is just so set in doing work versus when you're an owner that is focused on growth.
Yeah.
Like two different worlds. Two
Yeah.
things can you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can grow to this if you try hard.
And
if
it
you
kind
put in the
of
work
goes back to what I
it.
said earlier is, having a set goal of where you want to be at with the company, right?
Yep.
And a lot of owners don't do that. They work in the now, and they're just trying to get through day to day.
Currently,
And they see
yeah.
money rolling in, and they think that they feel successful, but realistically they're not, and they're still working on their business, and they're not really doing what they need to do as an owner, right?
Well, it's like you said earlier. You're looking at the now, not the later.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like look out a couple of years from
You
now. Where do
have
you want
to
to be?
have an end goal. Like where do you want to be? Like you as an owner, you need to seriously like sit down and think about this with yourself. If you have a wife, talk with your wife about it. Where do we want to be? What do we want to have when we're 50 years old?
Yep.
And get the goal of where you want to be at yourself and with your family. And then you have to now take steps to get there.
To put that plan in place. Yep.
And once you have like a goal in place, then that really makes that picture a lot clearer for you on how you need to get there. But you get there by taking small steps, right? You can't expect
doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, no,
Right.
it's small steps that take a period of time, right? I always agreed with the saying to be 2% better every week. If you strive to be 2% better every week, eventually you're going to get there, right? It just increments. That's
Little
all
bits,
it takes.
little bits.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you have to make sure you're consistently doing something. Never pause in growing.
Why do you think owners don't let go, man? Or why don't they let go sooner?
Well, I think a lot of it just comes down to, for one, maybe they don't know how to train somebody. Maybe they don't know how to get their information out of their head. They don't even think about that. I think they're scared on the outcome. I think that they're scared that if they don't do it, it's not going to be done the way that they want it to be done, and they're going to lose customers. They're going to lose money. Their brand value is going to go down, which you probably don't have any brand value if that's where you're at in your business. It's just there's a lot to it that's really mentally in the owner's head that he's got too much ego, too much pride. There's something there that's happening. It's just like you need to stop bullshitting yourself and to start letting some shit go. That was me. I was that person. I didn't want to let people go, let things go. But then I accepted the fact that I needed to have a shop manager. I needed to have a sales manager. I needed to have these things in place. And it was hard. And Kristen, my wife, is actually the one that helped me through it a lot because she drilled into my head and got this information out of my head. And she's like, here it is on paper. Now let's make sure that it actually works. Let's actually follow through it by the paper, how we have it down, how you told me, and let's see if that works. And if it didn't work, then we need to tighten it up a little bit or whatever it is. And then that is how you structure your business, is by getting that information out of your head. So really, I think it all comes down to just mentally. I mean, you got too much pride, too much ego.
100% mental. Yeah.
What do you think of that, Kyle? Why haven't you? I mean, unless you absolutely don't want to, but it seems like you want to grow.
No, and I
right?
agree with Myron. Like, it's a mental thing. It's me wanting to go and see all these people that I've been taking care of for so many years that I like seeing them, shaking their hand, having our morning conversations or whatever it may be. Like, when I have to understand to grow, to get to my goals of wanting to be able to retire one day and not just be detailing cars when I'm 60 years old still.
I will add this too real quick. One thing is that, a lot of owners, they're afraid that, they have a lot of personal connections, like what you're mentioning, right?
Yep.
You've started the business. You have a lot of connection with customers. Like, you've created that relationship with people. And you feel like that if you start stepping away from that, you're going to lose customers. And I'm going to be real with you. You probably will. I did.
I recently had to more or less fire one of my original customers that I really liked, that did a lot for me.
Yep.
But it got to a point where he didn't want me to send somebody else to his house.
That's what I was going to ask you.
He only wanted me. If you can bring a help with you, but I only want you coming here. Nate and your guy can't come here. Nate can't come by himself here. Like, I want you hands on with my, you are keeping me from growing. Yeah. To a point.
That's what I was wondering. Were you saying you're going to lose customers because the customers only want you and only you, kind of like Kyle said?
Yes. I think there's a lot of people out there,
which is rare.
I think people kind of value that relationship. They're like, oh man, this is a small business. I know the owner personally. I'm helping him out, and then you start to grow, and then you start to okay, I got to separate myself. I now have guys that can do this. I don't have to be that face-to-face person with the customers anymore. That person is now not having that relationship with the owner anymore because they're stepping away. They now lose their connection to the business because you were that connection.
Yep.
And that is also, I think, that's something that everybody has to expect to happen. You're going to have to let some customers go.
Some customers are going to be like,
you got to take a step back before you take a larger leap forward.
I have a few customers that haven't enjoyed the price increase over dude, stuff is expensive. Everything has gone up. I can't detail your car still for $100 that I was doing 5 years ago. That is not working for me anymore. And if you can't move into me moving my prices up on you, we're not a good fit for each other right now. If you need $100 detailer, there is one out there for you, but it is not me anymore. I can't come and do a $100 detail. I can't.
And those aren't good customers anyway, because if they've been with you long enough and they know your quality, they should know it's worth what they're paying, and your increase comes for a reason, right?
There's always usually a reason. And any business, by the way, just a side note, you should be increasing your prices regularly. That way, it's not a surprise. Like, every customer should understand
like a yearly or something, huh?
That you increase your prices on a yearly basis. You have to keep up with inflation. You have to. Every year, inflation is like 3 to 4%. Every year, you have to increase your prices by 3 to 4%, because otherwise, if you don't, you're losing 3 to 4% of your money every year.
Okay.
Right? It's cutting into your profits. You have to increase your prices on a yearly basis based on inflation.
So some of these people that fall off are probably for the better, because I have multiple, I have a list of people waiting, more or less waiting to get put on the rotate. Like, please just come over here. Like, whenever we're ready, we're here.
And I also want to just talk about it again. So when you look, from the manager conversation, right? You have to understand where, any business owner probably doesn't, you're not in that employee's mind, when you're looking to, when you're thinking about making him a manager. As that employee, you're excited for that opportunity. If you have the right person, you're excited because you want that next step, right? You've been with a business long enough, right? In your case, it's someone you grew up with. He's been with you long enough. In someone else's case, they may have not known each other until that owner hired that one employee, but maybe they've been there for a few years. Yeah. People want the chance to grow. And they want the chance to be able to prove themselves. They really don't have that opportunity to grow until that owner makes a decision. Okay, I'm going to make you a manager. Yeah. Okay. And you'll be surprised, as long as you have the right person and you really feel like, this person can do what it takes. And honestly, you may not even know if this person could do what it takes until you go ahead and take that next step, take that leap, right? But employees want that. Like good employees who are committed to the company, who are committed to help the company grow, they want that opportunity.
They want the responsibility put
so,
on them.
you know, from the owner's perspective, they're thinking, okay, man, I don't know if I should take this risk. I don't know if I should put my trust in someone else. Where sometimes you can have someone on the other side thinking, please give me this chance. Please give me this opportunity.
Yeah, dude, leave. Go get
And
on the phone.
sometimes-
Go talk to some
You
people.
know, and I was
Don't
like
be
that.
here. Leave us alone,
I
please.
was just like that. It's like, give me that opportunity. I'm waiting for it. I know I can do it. Put me in those shoes so I can prove.
And let me
And
do
a
it.
lot
Like,
of
I prove
times
it,
when you
yes.
have an employee like that, who's just like they're begging for that responsibility and you finally give it to them, you'll find that they work harder and they
You're
try
motivated.
harder.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're 100%. Those people.
Like I
if-
finally got my shot. Now I'm gonna really, really shine.
when,
Like
when you
Yeah,
put
I'll
someone.
show you what I got now.
some new excitement. Like
Yeah.
years into being with me, now we got like a whole new light because he
Well-
gave me
well-
a title. Like
Yeah.
You also feel like you're growing though, because like you become a manager, boom, there's like a rush, right? Like it's like a high that you're chasing. You are now more, I guess you have a larger title, and with that title comes more responsibility, and with that comes more duties, and you have a stronger position now where it's like, okay, we hire 2 more guys, it's good. It's like I'm proving myself.
Yeah.
And then if if that person ends up moving up, who you originally made a manager, to a higher position in the company, now they could be proud to hire other people below them, or have more employees come in. It's, again, you're building confidence in these people.
Yep.
It's just like giving someone a big raise, maybe, or like an annual raise. People feel good about that, right? You're kind of rejuvenated. You're
Exactly.
ready to work,
Yeah.
right? You get that responsibility. You want to go. So that's important too. An owner has to understand from the employee's perspective how they kind of feel, and I think any good employee would take that and run with it.
So I want to talk about this real quick before we get into the next thing here, and that is, if I was in your shoes right now, I think what I would be doing is figuring out in your head, how can I make Nate a manager? What are his duties going to be? You need to think about that. Like,
Okay.
what is he going to have to do every day? What is he going to have to ensure of every single day? Put that on paper. Figure it out. Get an outline of what his job duties are on a daily basis. If he becomes a manager, right?
Okay. Yes,
you
sir.
need to then, once you have a solid foundation of what the position looks like, right? Then, if you're ready to have that conversation with Nate, pull him aside. You tell him the job description. This is what I'm going to expect you to do every day as a manager. I have it all on paper. This is what I want you to do. Okay. And then you need to also have a conversation at the same time about where you want to see the company go, what your goals are as an owner. That way he knows exactly where he needs to go with what the goals of the company are, so he can manage better, right? Because now he has that same vision in mind that you have, and he should be, as a manager, trying to push your goals, right?
Yep.
So you need to have that conversation with him, the job expectations, and then the next thing is, obviously, if you have a manager, you typically want to make sure you pay him well. But here's the thing: if you're early on in your business, maybe you don't have that sort of like extra cash to pay somebody that much more money. So maybe in this position, I don't know how much he gets paid, and you don't have to disclose that, but maybe you can even negotiate with him, like, hey, I'm going to make you this title. These are the responsibilities. This is the vision of where I want to go as a company. I can't pay you more at the moment, but I want to pay you more. And if we can get the business to this spot, I will pay you more, I promise. Like, that's going to happen. And if you put that on paper or whatever you want to do as an agreement, and then that is how you instill motivation in him. Like, okay, now I've got to get this company here if I want to start making more money as a manager, right? And it really starts to get that motivation going with inside Nate.
Yeah.
And that's what I would do if I was in your shoes.
That's exactly
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, right now you're kind of stuck in this position. You're doing everything, right? What does that cause to you? I mean, tell me personally, what does that do to you? Does that burn you out? Does that cause hardships with your family? Does it cause arguments? Does it cause strain and stress? I mean, what is it doing to you to be stuck?
So luckily my wife has been with me since I started this by myself from nothing. Like, she is very okay. Like, she's okay with me having to put in the late days and stuff. They don't happen near as much in the past few years as they used to. that's, I think, part of what I like about being like the owner of a company is I've got to take the time off to not miss stuff at the school plays and the parties for my kid, little things like that. So that's always been nice. But the burnout comes maybe not all the time, but I get burnout. Like there's some busy weeks where I'm like, dude, this is too much. Like there's days that, frustrating. Too many phone calls, too much work, not enough help. Like,
has it ever come to a point to where
I've thought about stopping? I've thought about calling you and asking you for a job. On some days I have been so stressed out. Like, dude, Myron will give me a job. Myron will let me detail all the cars at White Glove. Like, I'll quit Showroom Service and go to work at White Glove. That easy. No stress. I'll just get a paycheck.
That is realistic right there. That is really, and I've been that way too. I've wanted to throw in the towel and like, fuck, dude. It's like, I don't know if I want to.
Somebody will hire me.
Like,
yeah.
I'm just like, man, dude, I really want to keep going. This is so stressful. You get those points in time of business where you just hit like a low spot and you're just like, man, dude, am I even really successful? Where am I going?
What am I doing here?
I mean, like, really, honestly. And it causes undue stress on you to be stuck like that. And you realize, you start thinking about it. Maybe one night you're in bed and you're like, fuck, dude, it's like 5 years has gone by and what do I have to show for it? Nothing. And then you start to like, you get depressed almost, like you start to get bummed about it. But it's like, at the same time, it's yourself that put yourself in that position.
Yes.
And you have to start taking action to pull yourself out of that spot. And so it's like you really have to make a decision on what are you going to do. Can you do this as an owner? Can you pull yourself out of this spot? Or are you in over your head? And should you quit your business?
Should you bail out? Yeah.
You know? And that's really, I think, those moments really define who you are as a person, depending on what choice you make in those moments. And I've had several of those moments, and I've always
show up the next day and go to work, and
like,
you've never packed it up yet.
Yeah,
and that's commendable because there's days that it is not easy to go ahead and push through.
You have these same feelings.
This is 2 months ago. Bro, Nate, I will close. I hate it for you, but Myron will give us a job, bro. Like he'll probably hire both of us. Like. I don't know. Like,
yeah, and I remember because you've told me that, and I've always tried to talk you out of that.
Yeah,
like, man, dude, if you need help with something, I've always
just
been
ask, come and ask. Yeah,
because I don't want to see you do that.
And we've recently sat down in your office and done some stuff, and since then I've gotten so many things in order. Like it was like a huge weight getting lifted off of my shoulders. Coming to talk to you, writing some stuff down, literally putting some stuff on paper, and doing some things one step at a time.
Yeah.
Calling these people one day, calling these people the next day, sitting down with this person and getting this lined up to make this happen that I called about that. Like,
so right now, with your business, are you the one that you show up to the shop every day and you open up shop and you get everything ready to roll? Is that you? Is that what you do every day?
Most of the time, yeah.
Is it sometimes Nate?
And Nate usually tries to get there before me. Me and Nate will almost have like a competition of who is going to be there to open that bay door first.
Yeah, gotcha. That's good.
He likes to show up.
Again, you have a good guy there.
Nate has a company truck. So when he shows up in the morning, he gets there to fill up with water, get his towels, all that. Sometimes he'll do it the day before, depending on how he feels. If it's 5 o'clock and he doesn't want to sit in traffic, he'll get his truck ready. Like he'll pre-think about the next day. He loves it. He always is asking me, "What's tomorrow? Do I even need to come to the shop in the morning, or should I just start my day out before I even come here?"
Okay, so where I'm going with this is a lot of owners out there, they're hearing us talk about checklists and stuff, and how do you do this, delegate things to managers or whoever. And I mean, as simple as how to open up your shop in the morning should be on a checklist.
Okay.
Like, unlock the door. Turn on the lights.
And I feel like, so maybe this is something that he and I make together, because he is so like step for step with me on how, like, I told him, if there's no power in here, we should be able to walk into this shop and get every chemical, every towel, boom, boom, boom. Either one of us.
Yeah.
And I feel like he is our other guy hasn't been around long enough. He is caught on quick. He's a good worker. We do have to go behind him and tighten some things up now and then, and I do correct course on him a little more often than I have to on Nate. But
and what I'm saying is that for people who are watching is like, what do I want to put in a checklist? You literally put everything on a checklist. Everything that has to be done in a business has to be on a checklist. Okay. How you open the store, how you close the store.
Even though we've been there for so long, and
that part doesn't matter.
Exactly.
That part does not matter.
Him and I know exactly. You two both know exactly what you're going to White Glove to do in the morning every single day, but you still have a checklist for it.
Yeah, this is intended.
The checklist is for future growth. That's what I have to understand.
A checklist
it's not some
needs
piece
to be
of paper. It's a checklist for me and Nate, but it's a checklist for the
any
people that Nate
owner
is going to
there,
hire.
any owner out there who's like, I already know what to do every day. You're not thinking about the future, and that's what this stuff is for.
Yep.
You stop thinking about the now, you think about the future. And if you hire somebody, you want to be like, okay, here's all your checklists that you do every day. That's your responsibility. This is your position every single day.
This
It's
is what
on
happens
paper.
here every day.
Yeah.
Yep.
The
Same thing.
checklist should be laid out in a way where you could grab anyone off the street, and they should, if they follow that checklist, they can get your shop opened and operating
Okay.
in the morning
Yep.
as you would yourself.
Okay.
If it's not easy for someone who's never been in that shop to unlock it and
you
get everything
bring up
going,
something very
your checklist is off. It's not complete.
yeah. And what you could do to test that is like if you make these checklists, and then you give it to somebody that you know, a friend or a family member, like, hey, come in, follow this checklist.
Run this checklist.
Just do it by yourself. I will not give you any words. I want to see if you can do it.
Okay.
And wherever they get held up at is where you need to adjust the checklist and be more explanatory on or whatever it is.
This is what I do right here.
Keep in mind, it sounds silly, but like, let's say you walk in your shop and on the checklist, the next thing says, turn on the lights.
It's
not good enough.
Literally a step by step.
But that's not good enough. It's like, which lights?
The light switch on
In
the
this
left.
room, turn on the back lights. In this room, turn on the lights by the door. Make it really specific.
Okay.
So there's absolutely no way someone can't mess it up.
Yeah,
because at
basically,
some
if
point,
they're looking at the checklist, they're
just
like,
dumb it
where's,
down.
where's the light switch at? You know, even if you have to have a picture of the light switch, like a little mini
Yep.
picture on the checklist or whatever, that way you can show them where it's at. Like all of that stuff. Like literally, they should be able to walk in, do the entire checklist without a single hesitation, no questions, no nothing.
again, it sounds silly, but like it's what it takes. Because if
Yes.
one day you've grown your company to the point where you don't need to be there every day, right? Or maybe hardly at all. Who knows? And let's say Nate takes a higher position. You need someone to fill Nate's shoes to open up the shop, maybe.
Yep.
That guy, his checklist will be ready. So it's not for you guys, which don't get me wrong. You know, if it's nice to have a checklist there that you do check off every day and sign it, whatever it is, to kind of keep yourself mindful. Because maybe there's a couple things you don't have to do every day.
Yeah.
Right? In your checklist, it could be something where it says every Friday do this.
Okay.
Right?
So that some things don't slip to the wayside or whatever, but
Yeah,
don't
if you don't do things
necessarily
very
have
often,
to be done daily.
you may forget about them.
Yeah.
If it's on paper and you look at that paper every morning or end of day, because again, you should have checklists for different points of the day or for different situations.
Okay. Open, close.
Whatever it is, yeah, it could be midday checklists. It could be like at White Glove, we have bathroom checklists. I mean, you know, if a manager is responsible for cleaning the bathroom, it won't just say clean the bathroom. It'll say exactly what to do. So anyone can step in. If you change that role or you make that responsibility someone else's, you hand that other person the checklist, and now they can follow it, and now they'll know exactly what to do. Where are the supplies to clean the bathroom? What are we cleaning in the bathroom? You know, morning, midday, end of day checklist.
Yep.
You know, maybe when your trucks are, you know, I'm not really sure how you operate, but let's say you have mobile trucks that come back into your shop every night. What to do once the truck's in there, you know, like that's an end of day checklist for that employee driving the truck, or whatever it is. You'll have an employee checklist for a manager, and it has got to be super detailed. It sounds silly, but it helps. It works.
All right.
And you kind of get back on track here with where I was going, you know, when I was asking you, like, how does it make you feel personally being stuck all the time? And it makes him, at times, get to a point to where he just wants to fucking throw in the towel and quit. Right?
Frustrated,
I've been
mad,
there,
angry,
right?
sad. Like,
Yep, and it causes stress, and luckily for you, it doesn't sound like it causes relationship issues.
I'm
but
very
for a lot
blessed
of
for
people,
that.
it probably does.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is, if that situation should ring with majority of people who are watching this who are stuck right now, and that is not normal. None of that is normal. You should not be in that situation. And if you are in that situation, then it's a you problem. Like, you have to step up as an owner and really start to start changing things to get yourself out of that spot. I was in that same spot myself. You know, I was super stressed out all the time. There was times where I wanted to call it quits. I'd had no time for myself. There was times where I would sit there and be thinking to myself, like, fuck, dude, like, when am I ever going to take any time for myself?
yep. When do I have time for me?
Yeah, and it's just like, well, you start having time for you whenever you start making it happen, and you have to make it happen by growing your business in the way that we're talking about here in this show, right?
Yes, sir.
So,
Okay, Byron. So let's say, you know, you start implementing this stuff, right?
Yes.
If you're a business owner and you take that next step, okay, I'm going to hire a manager. I'm going to give myself the ability to grow the business. What does that look like?
okay, so, well, for one, I don't ever suggest hiring a manager. Like, unless it's somebody that maybe you already have known and have some sort of relationship with and you can kind of trust to do that. But in my opinion, I would not hire a manager. I would move somebody up to be a manager. So you would have somebody who works from ground level, like you. You have somebody who works on the cars right now. You move them up to a manager. And then say years down the road, maybe you're bigger. Maybe you do have 10 or 14 employees or whatever it is. And you have now layers, kind of like White Glove does. And now he can move up to another manager or whatever. You know what I mean? So you keep moving your managers up within the company is what I suggest.
Don't hire from the outside in.
Yeah, because now you have managers that have truly seen it from the bottom up. And if you hire somebody in out off the street as a manager, they usually have no respect from the team or from anybody else. And they also will usually cause you more problems because they don't know how you operate.
If you're an owner who hires outside people to manage your company, you're going to lose your employees.
Yeah.
I can see that.
And you're going to lose their respect. And just like I said before, an employee who's worked for you, if they're the right guy to be that manager role, to play that manager role.
And you bring somebody else in?
Yeah, because they're getting excited, right, for the potential. Like, I've been here this long. You hire someone else who's now, they know less about your company, but now they're dictating what
to do.
What that guy's doing.
Yep.
You're going to lose. They're not going to have any respect for that guy. They're not going to have any respect for you as the owner. And they're going to start caring less about your company, and they're going to quit. I am proof of that. I have left other shops because I haven't grown.
Yeah.
There's no growth. And this is not always because an outside manager is hired. But if there's no constant growth for employees, good employees, you're going to lose them.
So
and I have left
the way
businesses.
that we've always looked at this in our terms at White Glove is you have A, B, and C players. Okay, and your A players are the people who come in, and those are managers waiting to happen. They're there every day on time. They're getting shit done. They're accountable. They're everything. Nate is an A player.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
B players. B players are people who stay static, right? They don't really grow. They don't really move up. They're happy with where they're at. They're happy coming in at 8 o'clock in the morning, leaving at 4 in the evening, collecting a paycheck, and they don't care to grow, but they're doing their job well.
And there's nothing wrong with that because you need people like that.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
And and that's fine. That's perfect as long as they're doing their job that they're supposed to be doing. C players are the ones who are doing things like doing things like B players, but yet they're doing everything bad. Like they're messing up, they're making mistakes, right? They're only coming in at this time and leaving at this time and collecting a check, and they don't give any crap whatsoever about their quality of work or anything. That's a C player. Those are people you fire.
Yeah. Okay.
Those are the people you spend the most time on trying to correct them just to realize, okay, they're not a good fit.
They're not going to be here. Yeah. Okay.
So really you want to have a company full of A players and B players, and you don't want to have a company full of A players because now you have everybody in your company who's wanting to move up, and then that never happens, and you start losing great people because they don't,
because
grow.
there's nowhere to move.
But the good thing is too, it's a lot less common to hire A players than it is B players, right? There's more B players out there.
If you're a business owner and you say, "Man, I got 8 guys and they're all A players," they're probably not.
Okay.
You're just looking at it. You're not looking at it correctly.
Yeah.
Okay. You're just misinterpreting somebody.
Very rarely do you have 5 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 guys, and they're all A players, true A players.
Yeah. Okay.
Just because they're all great employees. That's great, but
not
they're probably
necessarily
they're
an A
probably
player.
B players.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
They don't have that mindset to be
Yeah.
an A player.
Yeah.
To do some extra for no reason because it needs to be done or because
Yes.
it's the right thing to do.
Yes, you can have plenty of.
I think Kyle would have done that, so I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Yeah. I think really what every business needs to do is lay out what an A player, what a B player, and what a C player is to them and their company. That way they know on paper, this is what I'm looking at. And if you see somebody falling into that C player category, get rid of them.
Nip it in the butt quick. Yeah.
Quick.
Yeah.
That person will bring everybody else down.
Yep.
Or they're going to piss your other people off and they'll leave because you're continuing to hire a C player or keep a C player on your team and not doing anything about it. And that brings morale down, everything, atmosphere, everything goes down. So your C players have to be cut quick.
Yep.
If you're trying to grow your business, you're going to hire C players, whether it's unintentional or intentional.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. You have to be ready for it. If you're ready to take that next step as a business owner, you are going to be hiring more people. You're going to have more turnover. You're going to get C players. Expect it and be ready for it. Know to look for it. You have to know what you're looking for.
In our business, and I think any business could be a little bit different, but especially in the automotive restyling business, I found the sweet spot to be 30 days. We would hire somebody. We give them 4 weeks, 30 days, right, to catch up on to what we need them to do as in our business, whatever that position is that we're hiring them for. If they can't catch on within that time frame, if they're not catching on, not doing things properly, whatever it is, then we cut them. That's it, 30 days.
That's fair.
Like,
I think.
if they're not, not on board
within 1 week of me or Nate riding around or being at the shop, showing somebody side by side, hands on, this is what we do, this is how we do it. After that week, you should be able to make it happen. Maybe me doing a little checking, you touch this up, touch that, like you say. Sometimes they don't even last that long though in the detailing world. Exactly. It is just,
but
or they've worked at a dealership, or everybody's worked at the car wash, and everybody knows how to detail. And it's
but you
hard
need to know
find
that limits though.
You do.
And every company needs to understand what that C player looks like in their company. And then, like I said, fire them instantly because you do not want them sticking around.
To be fair, I think that when if business owners who haven't been hiring a lot, they probably don't know what a C player looks like, and it's going to come with experience and time.
It comes with experience.
Okay.
Because a C player from one company could be a B player for another. It just depends on what you're looking for.
Your definitions are going to change as you grow. Right?
So then that's normal. And I also, on top of that, I don't think you can hire A players right away. I don't think you can
like
make a
build
hire.
an A player.
Yeah, I think that
he like builds with you or something.
In my opinion, I think
Builds
you
with
hire
your team.
everyone's a B player. If you think they really got a lot of potential, I do think they start as B players, but as they learn more about how your business operates, because you won't know that on day one.
Right.
They don't know what's the true ins and outs of that business and what's expected each day until you're hired. I feel like B players turn into A players.
That's essentially right. I mean, whenever you're hiring somebody, you're essentially having them come in with the mindset that they are a B player, right? You don't bring them in because you think they're an A player, or you don't bring them in because they're a C player. Because why the fuck would you do that?
No.
Right? You bring everybody in because you assume they're a B player and you think they're going to do good, and then yes, they grow into an A player, or they go into a C player, right?
Yeah, so, and you have to be you have to understand what your limits are and your thresholds are for each of those A, B, and C players. And I think once you find out who your A players are and you're trying to grow, those A players are the ones you look at to make a manager.
Okay.
Those are your guys. Those are your guys that you have proved themselves.
Yeah.
And now you owe it to them, or you don't really owe it to them, but in a way you want them to continue growing because you want to see this person succeed.
Yes, sir.
They're going to be there to help your business grow. So, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's really a lot of good insight, I think, in my opinion. And, at some point, and I'm just going to state this now, we do plan on offering, like, our documents or as White Glove, our documents that we've made for our company, our outlines of what an A, B, C player is. All of this stuff that we've made for our company, we do at some point plan on making that available for purchase. And so when that does come available, we will be letting you guys know on this show. But that is something that we will plan on putting out there. This is years of work that my wife and I had put into these things. And this is our minds on paper and how we run our business. And you would be able to take these documents and mold them for your company and change whatever and edit them for you. But having a starting template is sometimes really well worth it for a lot of people out there who don't even know how to get started.
That have no groundwork.
Right? And so anyway, we will have that available for purchase at some point in the near future.
Yep, a little teaser.
Yep, exactly. So. There's more to that, but I'll leave it at that for
yes,
now.
that's all we're talking about now. Yeah. You have to keep watching to hear more.
Okay, so is there anything else you wanted to throw in?
Not really, man. I will say, from talking to you, even before this, this podcast, this episode, dude, it seems to me like you're on the right track. I mean, you're motivated to grow, and I think not what's holding you back, but maybe, it's more just, it's kind of that, like, you got to take the next step.
A fear of just letting all the way go.
Yeah,
and just letting these guys run my company that I know can do it. That's going to
help you grow, and it's going to make everyone more money. You're going to build a business.
Okay. Yeah. And that's what I preach to my wife. Like, I got to figure out a way to make sure I keep paying these two guys enough money that they want to come back here and work for me. Yeah. Like, I want them to continue helping me make money, so I want to help them make money.
Yes.
Like,
they have to understand that being put in those positions that you want to put them in is going to help everyone make money.
Yes, sir. Okay.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Yes. So, okay, great. Well then, so from just this one show, from us talking for the last hour and a half now.
Jeez.
Yeah. Time flies whenever
It
you're
does.
sitting down and just
And just
talking,
hanging
huh?
out. Yeah.
So what is like one thing that you think that you've taken away from this episode?
Let go. If I let Nate manage my place.
Yeah.
Let me go away and do some other things that need to be done.
Yes.
And just kind of test the waters.
Yeah.
I don't let it go all the way, maybe, but
Just
let
coach
him.
him. You gotta be
let
there.
him have some leniency.
You can't just put somebody in a position to throw them into the fire, right?
Maybe quit
Again,
holding him back.
Again, put stuff on paper, what you expect.
Okay.
And just coach him, be with him, and train him. Just understand that you're gonna have to work with him for a little while to get him like going, right? And then just see how that goes. I mean, that's really the best thing you can do is just be there for them. Don't just throw them to the fire.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that he probably already understands.
Which
how a
I've
lot of
thrown him
stuff
to the
works.
wolves before.
Yeah.
Like whenever we first got the shop and we're doing mobile boat, like, hey man, you're on your own. You're going to be out by yourself on some days. I'm not going to help you. I can't do anything for you. See ya.
Yeah.
So, and those days are nice. I feel good about those days where
And
I
some-
hardly ever see Nate. He goes and does his mobile stuff. He might fill up with water over here, touch up something over here, and then goes home. And then the next day I'll see him at the end of the day after he goes and does his mobile route.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, I think that I think you're right. Yeah, you need to let go, and you also need to, I think, in my opinion, have that position built out from your head on paper, and you need to have that serious conversation with Nate and tell him, hey, what your goals are.
Okay.
I want to pay you more. I want to pay everybody more. I want to make more money. So let's get the company there together.
Okay. Yep.
So what would you say a takeaway is from you?
Owners gotta reward good employees, reward themselves, and then you'll see growth. And if you're an employee, work your ass off, prove to that owner that you're worth being in that position, and that's how businesses grow. That's how individuals grow, and that's how businesses grow.
I think that really, my takeaway is that you have to understand that everything starts from the owner. Everything funnels downward from there. It's always on you. It's your fault as an owner. It's not anybody else's fault in your company. It's your fault as an owner on why things are happening the way they are happening. And so I think that really the biggest thing that you have to take away from this is understanding that, and also asking yourself, truly, like sitting down and asking yourself, digging deep, when you're 50 and 60 years old, do you want to be doing the same thing that you're doing right now? The answer to that's probably going to be no.
Should be no.
You got to really think about that future and like, man, dude, that should almost scare you. Like, do I really want to be doing that 30 years from now?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Stop working in your company, work on your company.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wash the cars you buy from doing the details. Not. It's the only ones you should be washing.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, let's wrap things up here. Again, Kyle, I really want to thank you for coming on the show and
Yeah, I
talking
appreciate
about a
you
lot
guys
of
having
stuff. You really pointed out a lot of vulnerabilities within your own company and how you felt emotionally about a lot of this stuff. And I think a majority of people do feel that way. Again, I was one of those people. And I think people talking about that out loud also makes it more motivating for them to get out of that position, because if you're not talking about it, if you're not making it the forefront of your mind, then you're not going to do anything about it. It's saying at the back of your mind. So again, I thank you for being on the show and talking about this stuff with
Appreciate
us.
it. Yeah, appreciate you guys having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, for sure. So again, Kyle owns Showroom Service in Jinx, Oklahoma, and so he's got a brick and mortar location, and he also has a mobile team. And so if you are in the local area, I highly recommend these guys. If you need detailing or ceramic coating or just maintenance washes or whatever it is, he's got like subscriptions basically every month that you can go on a monthly plan, and he can come to you weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever it is. And so I would highly recommend that you guys check his shop out. He does great work. Again, he does all of my own stuff, and I couldn't recommend him more. So aside from that, on our next episode, we're going to be talking about marketing. If you want to grow and get high quality employees and get managers, just as we talked about in this episode, then you have to bring in enough business to afford those people, and that's where marketing comes in. What's bad marketing, what's good marketing, and what you should be spending each month on marketing, and more is what we will talk about in our next episode. So you're going to want to pay attention. If you want to implement these things that we talked about today, you have to have money to do those things, and this is how you get money. So don't forget to like and subscribe to our show. Please share this with at least one business owner that could get information from this, that could take this and implement it into their own business and be better. It also helps us grow as a show, so we would appreciate that. But for now, that's another show in the books.
One more time, Kyle, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Amen.
it.
Thank you guys.
I hope you
Appreciate
guys
having me.
enjoyed the show. And remember, if it's not working, it's probably you. We'll see you next week.